Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 6, finale recap, right? Spoiler-filled recap. And I'm going to get into it deep this week because there actually was a couple things I didn't like about it. But it's still totally... now, hold on. We got our usual weekly... It wouldn't be Screen Preach without our usual. So let's have those sirens come on through and friends of the show, come on through, Sirens, the LA, FDLA, is that it? Fire Department of Los Angeles? Yeah, I think that's it, right? Yeah, there they are. This episode of Screen Peach. The word is preach. The word is preach. But you know what? The peach now, I think, is just... I think, honestly, the peach is the logo. It's like the secondary logo for the show. Now. No joke. That would be funny if I did that. I should do that on the merch drop coming. There's a merch drop coming for patrons, don't forget. And, yeah, that would be funny. I might actually do something with that. This week's episode, the finale, it's our last week of Marvel till Loki comes out, and I think it's worth talking about why this episode was so emotional compared to the other ones, like even more so. Like I actually legitimately cried at one point. I'm not gonna lie, like the Isaiah Bradley shit really got me. It really got me today. I just watched the episode. I watched the episode, Mortal Kombat, and then I came home and I watched the episode. So we're fresh in the head, and we're going to go for it. Here we go. Right off the bat, they pick up right where they left off, so great. Obviously, we get a lot of action for like a solid... I think the whole first half of the episode is solid action. And yeah, he came through. Sam Wilson came through in his new duds with wielding that shield and wearing that outfit as Captain America, and you knew it was coming. It's not like it's a spoiler or anything. That's not a spoiler. It was hinted at last week. It made sense. Makes sense still. And he was kicking ass. He was getting his ass kicked a little bit, but he was also kicking ass. I liked how there was a couple of direct nods, like callbacks to kind of how Steve would fight, and Sam and Bucky kind of having their little moments with that. Like, for instance, the way that Sam and Batroc fight each other is similar, once again, reminiscent to Steve and Batroc fighting each other. Even the shield kick that, like, hits him, and that was a great move, and we've seen that before from Steve. So that was cool. And Sirens, come on. You know what's funny to me about the Sirens? There's nobody in front of you. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Like, it gets to like 10 o'clock or whatever. Like, there's less people on the road. I always look out there. There's less. The Sirens are on for who? Who you telling to move? Okay, as I was saying, I love how it's actually early still, compared to what last week was. It's 10 o'clock. That's actually early. I think Sam has definitely shown that he's practiced. His training kind of paid off. His moves were stellar. There were a lot of really cool moves, and I'm looking forward to seeing more combinations of what the Falcon wings and the Cap shield together do. We already got like 4 new things here, new moves that were really cool to see. Choreography was cool. The fight scenes were cool. But nothing topped that helicopter rescue. Obviously, the way he tossed the shield in and then came flying through, and that was great. That was the best. And it's a good look, and I love how we have these moments where he's telling people he's Captain America, and people are calling him Captain America. But the most important thing about that whole sequence was the end of it. We needed that speech. Even that scene made me feel like, for real, like I had goosebumps, because that's what this whole series was building to, I know people are complaining about this episode because it didn't seem to it wasn't what they expected to. It didn't, conclude. Again, I keep hearing this word, conclude. There's nothing to conclude. It's not concluding anything because this is a long storyline. This is the start of something, not the end of something. Potential second season, right? Still, by the way, I know that just breaking news like Captain America 4 was announced after the finale today. Like, it's official with the showrunner of this show set to write and direct, I think, the fourth Captain America film with Sam Wilson as Captain America. I would assume even Bucky might even be in the film. And I would even assume that Power Broker is the main villain of the film. That's my assumptions. But aside from what's coming, I think you need to keep in mind still, once again, it's not concluding nothing. It's setting up. If anything, this sets up the new Captain America. It sets up Sam's next chapter, even Bucky's. Mostly Sam, though. Like, just the whole build to him being Captain America was what this was about. Some people might say, hey, well, then why couldn't we just do that in a 2-hour movie? You could have. But it's more... There's more narrative. There's more depth. There was a lot of depth. We got to meet more characters that maybe the movie couldn't give us. There was a lot, like, the expanding on Isaiah Bradley and even Eli Bradley. That maybe wouldn't have be able to fit in the movie, like if it was just a movie. And then John, because there were more characters to meet and build on. John Walker, I just don't think it would have worked as a movie. You needed this setup. You needed this like long movie to set up an actual movie. I think it makes sense. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think I don't think there was a pacing problem here. I think it was very clear about the kind of show it was. Kind of story it was. It gave every kind of theme and social and political question that it raised its moment, its right amount of time, and concluded everything. I know it could seem like it concluded things quickly. Then now I'm using the word concluded, not so much concluded as wrapped up. Like kind of, yeah, like the arc came to a point in this finale. It's not like it's concluded. It's not concluded. Because everything that was kind of wrapped up here is it's just a setup. It's just a setup for the next thing. At the same time as wrapping up what we've built to thus far. Every episode had its purpose, and I think Sam here, that speech was everything that the two opposing sides of this conflict were kind of, grappling with. All of the conflict at the center of this was literally summed up into a speech by Captain America himself, and his relatability to it as being a black man. So it was perfect for the way to end that sequence. And in one swift motion, he's gained the confidence of people, rather effectively, with just one speech. And then John Walker pops in too. So the whole sequence, there's a lot of action on multiple ends. We have Bucky fighting Flag Smashers. We have John Walker fighting all of the Flag Smashers and Carly one-on-one. We have Bucky and John teaming up. We have Bucky and John and Sam teaming up. And John comes in as he's been, hot-headed and ready to go. Like, just full-blown revenge. Motivation, nothing else. But he needed a moment where he kind of snaps out of it and sees things more clearly. He needed that moment, and he got it. When he saw people literally about to die, innocent people about to die, that truck, he could either let the vengeance consume him and go after Carly, or he could do the right thing and be something that actually would be worthy of that shield that he used to wield, and he does go after the civilians in need. And in that moment, it's not about being Captain America. It's actually just about being himself and what he actually is. It's about proving to himself in a way in that moment, who am I going to be? Who am I? Am I going to be that fucking guy that now the world sees me as this crazy extremist sort of Captain America type, obsessed and unhinged person, or am I going to be somebody who does the right thing in the right moments just because it is the right thing, and he does. And it kind of embodies what we see for his arc. He becomes his own symbol. He gains his own moniker, and that is, he's literally we have his moments. He wears his U.S. agent suit in the episode. It's as comic accurate, by the way, as you could possibly get for an MCU outfit. It's spot on the U.S. agent from the comics outfit. If you look at pictures, and I'm curious about his shield, because that's next. In the comics, he gets a shield. I don't recall what the material is. He could just probably get another vibranium shield, or we could finally have adamantium pop in. If you don't remember what adamantium is, it's what Wolverine's claws are made out of, and it's the second strongest metal in Marvel, behind vibranium. So we'll see what happens with that. But he became U.S. agent in that moment, and in this episode overall. And then Bucky had the moment I predicted he would have. He had to tell that old man what he did to his son, what he was responsible for. The pain and suffering that he was having was directly caused by what Bucky did. And yeah, that was sad. But in terms of pacing, I would call that out. I would probably call that moment out. It was quick. It seemed like they had to wrap it up all of a sudden quickly. But it's not like we weren't expecting that. It's not like it devalued anything. It's exactly the moment that would conclude Bucky's arc for the season, for the 6-episode storyline. So no complaints really there. The thing that I find myself complaining about is the whole Sharon Carter thing. Now, last week I didn't bring it up, but I mentioned real quick how the big theory was that Sharon Carter is power broker, and it was kind of so obvious that it didn't. And when it finally was revealed, it actually was like kind of annoying. And here's why this is the one thing I don't like, okay? Because there's no depth to this. Sharon did not pop up enough. This is my complaint. She didn't pop up enough, as much as I thought she would in the show. And when she did, there was no depth to her, to why she's doing exactly what she's doing. And this twist doesn't hit the mark. This twist actually makes it worse, because it does not match her character. It does not match her perspectives and motivations and viewpoints. Everything about Sharon that we've known before. And here's the thing: we don't know Sharon's full story. We don't know if she was snapped away. It might have been revealed somewhere after Infinity War that she might have been one of the people snapped away, or she might not have been. Doesn't matter. The point is, at the end of the day, power broker Sharon Carter, an ally of Steve Rogers in the past, an ally of Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes in the past, was at the center of all this chaos. She literally financed the Flag Smashers in the beginning of all this. She's directly responsible for all of the chaos here. And it just doesn't, for me, until we know more, and they should have addressed it here, really. Instead of it being some kind of twist, it should have just kind of been more blatant that, okay, she's different now. And why is she different? Okay, here's why. And they didn't do that, and that was a problem. Because what we know of Sharon before this is that she believes in her country. She believes in serving her country and certain values that aligned very much with Steve, because let's not forget who her aunt is. or was. Peggy Carter was her aunt. Peggy's entire perspectives on things were reflected in Sharon. So to have Sharon flip-flop like this into a completely opposite direction of all those things, of all those core values, it just doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up, and it doesn't work for me, and I know it doesn't work for other people. Because as far as we know, all Sharon did was get banned from her country for helping Steve and Sam by stealing the shield and Sam's costume and helping them escape and all that stuff, right? So she was in trouble for that. But she knew what the fuck she was doing. She had no problem doing those things in that moment because she knew she could. The Sharon we know had no problem sacrificing all those things for what she believed in and what she believed was right. You know, in Civil War, and that's just my point. I don't see why her getting in trouble for that would cause her to flip-flop like this. You're surprised that your country abandoned you when you did something against the... So I'm just confused as to why she's turning into literally a villain. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And that's where they failed in this series. That was the one thing. That just... It didn't land. It didn't land. If they had given her more... If we had learned more... Even more, maybe more things that happened to her. Maybe she was blipped away and she's been tossed aside by the government. Maybe if her motivations, if her experiences lined up more with Carly, then it would make more sense to me. But they didn't address that at all, so it just didn't land. I'm having a hard time with it. I'm really not liking it. I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie about that part of this. It has to be addressed, or it's really a big time flaw in the narrative here. But aside from all that, we don't have to. That moment does not ruin this episode in any way. It does not overshadow or undervalue this episode in any way, because there's just too many other good things going on. We have Cap. It was a long road, but we have Cap. He's here. Sam is worthy of that shield. And that speech was, and the whole world seeing it. It was powerful. And just how he inspired, literally like what Captain America does is inspire people. And in that moment, he inspired people, man. Whew. And they cut around, and we see Torres, too, watching, and he's going to be the next Falcon, right? I didn't realize that in the comics he does. I would have brought this up last week, but I just didn't realize. If I had read the comics, I would know these things, see? But, yeah, Torres becomes the next Falcon, so it inspires him even more to watch Captain America say the things he's saying and do the things he's doing. Isaiah Bradley watching it, and then the extension of that, the scene that made me cry was when Sam brought him to the museum, showed Isaiah and Eli what he did for them and what the country needed to always do for them, for Isaiah mostly, and for the people he lost, his fellow comrades. That memorial was so powerful, so huge, and just when Isaiah started to fucking tear up, I just couldn't help it. I'm like, hug him. I'm like, he shakes his hand. I'm like, he's gonna hug him. He's gonna hug him, and I'm crying, and he hugs him, and it's just really emotional, really, really, really good. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, they might just have to do it and make it work well in some way where they do like a prequel Disney Plus series about Isaiah Bradley. They could do a 6-episode arc too. They could do a full-blown storyline about Isaiah Bradley. Have someone awesome play him, a younger version of him. You could do Ray Fisher even, who played Cyborg in Justice League. He could play him. I could even see him playing him. Like, you could do that series. People would watch it and love it. I know I would. I don't know, maybe it's not necessary, though. We kind of learn everything we need to learn, but then maybe we didn't learn everything we need to learn. So maybe there's more to learn, and that's what the series would expand on. I don't know, just food for thought. And is that it? Is that it? So yeah, Carly is. She gets killed by Sharon. Again, see, that was just so. I'm glad that the speech came right after that, because it just completely made me forget about Sharon's bullshit. And then I had to go and watch the post-credit scene. If you didn't watch the post-credit scene, you should, because it does kind of set up for the movie. Power Broker should be the villain, because they need to expand on Sharon for it to make more sense. They need to. Yeah, that's just not lining up for me, man. But everybody's, and also, if you didn't notice this, it was kind of confusing for me in the moment, so I needed to kind of take another look at it. When the arrested Flag Smashers are taken away in the car and it blows up, that was Zemo. Zemo killed all them. Zemo had that truck blown up. And that's why Valerie Allegra de Fontaine says that Zemo took care of that little problem. And in the moment, I didn't quite realize what she meant, but it was him who did that. And that was it. There was a nice little, kind of happier celebratory ending to it all. Back home and celebrating with Sarah and everything, and Sam and Bucky and everything. I think that's it. But it was really good. It was a really good episode. It was a good finale. Was it great? Was it amazing? No, I suppose not. But I mean, dude, I cried. It was definitely powerful. I'm going to say it was great. I'd probably give it, like, if I were going to give it a number, I'm going to do a numerical. I haven't been doing numerical for these. 8 point something. It's high 8s, probably. I don't know. Good. Really good. And I can't wait to see what happens next. This has been a setup for these characters going forward. They'll pop up in movies. They'll pop up in TV shows again. There might be another season, even though they're doing a movie. So we have the movie, and we might have another season, and they'll pop up, obviously. But I think Sam has proven, most of all here, that he is a leader. Before he was a sidekick. Now he's the guy, man. And he's proven time and time again throughout this whole series, trying to make wise decisions left and right, and trying to do the right thing, and then finding a way to do so. And his speech to Bucky in last week's episode, his speech today, it's very much leadership qualities, and he's solidifying himself as the next leader of the Avengers already. And as you know, the Avengers is never led by one person. It's more like Steve and Tony kind of did it together. So, I could see Sam and Carol maybe as the two, or Sam and, hell, I don't know, Sam and even Rhodey, dude. You want the next Cap and the next Iron Man? There they are. But don't forget, we have Ironheart coming too, so it just keeps expanding. It seems like every other month or every month, whatever, we get a new project just kind of getting revealed to us in the works. Since Marvel's big reveal of everything that they're doing, we've gotten like at least 3 other projects that they've announced. And also, that's what the Untitled is. Oh, shit. Okay, so there was a slate release by Disney, and there was one Untitled Marvel movie that we didn't know what it was. Now it was the 4th Captain America. So, yeah, and Secret Invasion was another one, I think, was separate from the big announcement. there was just a couple things that came later. So it seems like we always keep learning about something new coming, because it does keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But yeah, that's my recap, and it's been fun talking about it every week, and it sucks that it's over. Um, but now we look forward to Loki. So get ready, because we'll be doing those.